The vast fleet of the hegemony slowed as they approached the edge of uncharted space. 200 warships moved in perfect formation, their hulls gleaming under the light of distant stars. At the center of this armada, the flagship carried Admiral Dak, Supreme Commander of the hegemony's 3rd Expeditionary Force. Admiral Dak stood tall on his command deck, 6 limbs perfectly still as he studied the viewscreen. His outer eyes narrowed at the sight before him, a single ship hanging in the darkness of space. Small, by hegemony standards, with clean lines and minimal weaponry visible on its hull. "Magnify," he ordered, his voice a low rumble. The image zoomed in, revealing the vessel in greater detail. The words UES Challenger were visible on its side, along with an unfamiliar emblem. "Humans," said his second-in-command, Officer Tull. "Our scouts reported their world only achieved basic spaceflight a century ago." Admiral Dak's mandibles clicked in amusement. "And now they wander into territory claimed by the 7 great races of the hegemony? Bold or foolish?" "Likely both," Officer Tull replied. "Primitive species often don't know their place." On the bridge of the UES Challenger, Captain Kim stood with her hands clasped behind her back. She appeared calm despite the overwhelming force arranged against her ship. "Status report," she said quietly. Commander Park looked up from his console. "All systems nominal, Captain. Shields at full capacity. Weapons hot but not targeted. The alien fleet has stopped approximately 50,000 kilometers from our position." "And our special systems?" "Ready but hidden, as ordered." Captain Kim nodded. "Let's see what they want." The communication screen flared to life, displaying Admiral Dak's imposing figure. His forearms were crossed across his armored chest, while his lower limbs remained planted firmly on the deck. His exoskeleton gleamed with military decorations. "Unidentified vessel," the alien commander began, his words translated by the Challenger's advanced systems. "You have entered territory under hegemony protection. Identify yourself and prepare to be boarded for inspection." Captain Kim stepped forward, her expression neutral but confident. "This is Captain Kim of the Earth vessel Challenger. We are on a peaceful mission of exploration and seek diplomatic contact with your people." Admiral Dak's upper eyes blinked slowly. "Humans have not been invited into hegemony space. Your surrender will be processed humanely. Resistance would be unfortunate." "With respect, Admiral," Captain Kim replied, "we are not in recognized hegemony territory according to galactic charts. This is neutral space." The Admiral's color darkened slightly. "All space belongs to the hegemony by right of power. You will comply." Captain Kim's expression didn't change. "We respectfully decline. Perhaps we could discuss diplomatic alternatives?" Murmurs spread across the hegemony flagship's bridge. No small power had ever refused the hegemony's demands. "Scan their vessel," Admiral Dak ordered sharply. Officer Lee, head of intelligence operations, worked quickly at his station. After several moments, he looked up in confusion. "Sir, our scans cannot penetrate their hull. There appears to be some kind of interference field." "Impossible," Admiral Dak growled. "Their technology cannot be more advanced than ours." Officer Lee studied his readings with growing concern. "I'm detecting unusual energy patterns throughout their ship. Nothing in our database matches this signature." On the Challenger, Commander Park leaned close to Captain Kim. "They're scanning us. Shall we raise additional defenses?" "Not yet," she answered. "Let's see how they respond first." Admiral Dak's patience had run out. "Human vessel, you will power down your engines and prepare for boarding, or face immediate consequences." Captain Kim sighed. "Admiral, we came seeking peaceful contact. Is conflict your only response to new species?" "Enough." The Admiral turned to his tactical officer. "Launch first wave. Show them the cost of defiance." Outside the flagship, 50 fighter craft detached from the larger vessels. They formed an attack pattern and accelerated toward the lone human ship. Captain Kim watched the approaching fighters on her tactical display. It seems diplomacy has failed, she said calmly. Commander Park, you may activate defensive systems. Yes, Captain. Hidden ports on the Challenger's hull slid open, revealing advanced weapon arrays that had been completely concealed from scans. The ship's systems came fully online as a sophisticated combat AI calculated intercept patterns. Admiral Dak leaned forward in his command chair, expecting a brief, one-sided demonstration of hegemony power. Instead, his mandibles dropped open in shock as the supposedly primitive human vessel transformed before his eyes. What is happening? He demanded as the first wave of fighters approached the Challenger. The answer came in streams of precisely targeted energy pulses that cut through space with impossible accuracy. The human ship wasn't just defending itself, it was revealing capabilities that no first-contact species should possess. The first wave of hegemony fighters streaked toward the Challenger, their pilots confident in their superior numbers and technology. 50 small craft moved in perfect formation, weapons primed and ready to disable the lone human vessel. On the Challenger's bridge, Captain Kim stood calmly as the enemy approached. Defense systems online? Yes, Captain, Commander Park replied. Combat AI has locked onto all targets. Execute defense pattern Alpha, she ordered. Minimal force where possible. What happened next stunned the watching hegemony fleet. Hidden ports along the Challenger's hull snapped open in perfect sequence, revealing a point defense grid far more advanced than anything the aliens had encountered before. Pulses of blue energy shot out with surgical precision, not randomly firing but striking each fighter at exactly its weakest point. In just 12 seconds, 23 hegemony fighters erupted in silent explosions. Impossible, whispered Admiral Dak, watching the carnage unfold on his viewscreen. His most elite fighter squadron was being decimated by a single ship from a supposedly primitive species. The remaining fighters broke formation, trying to approach from multiple angles. It made no difference. The Challenger's defensive systems tracked each one, neutralizing them with cold efficiency. Sir, Officer Lee called out, his voice tight with concern. The human vessel is using targeting algorithms that shouldn't exist. They're predicting our evasive patterns with 98% accuracy. How? Demanded the Admiral. They've never encountered our species before. On the Challenger, Captain Kim watched the tactical display without celebration. Status report. All enemy fighters neutralized, Commander Park answered. Minimal power expenditure. No human casualties. And the main fleet? Still holding position. Their sensors are actively scanning us now, trying to understand what just happened. Captain Kim nodded. Now they'll either retreat or escalate. Prepare all systems for Phase 2. The Challenger suddenly began to transform. Sections of the hull shifted position, revealing modular weapon systems that reconfigured themselves before the aliens' eyes. What had appeared to be a simple exploration vessel now bristled with advanced weaponry. On the hegemony flagship, tactical officers stared at their screens in disbelief. Their ship is changing, one reported. New weapon signatures appearing across their hull. Admiral Dak's color darkened with rage. A trick. They disguised a warship as a civilian vessel. Sir, Officer Lee interjected, studying his readings. These aren't standard weapons. Each system appears custom designed to counter specific hegemony defenses. Impossible. The Admiral slammed his primary limb against his command chair. They couldn't have known our tactical specifications. Captain Kim opened a communication channel. Admiral Dak, I offer one final opportunity for peaceful dialogue. The loss of your fighters was regrettable but avoidable. Let's prevent further bloodshed. The Admiral's mandibles clicked rapidly in agitation. You deceived us. Presented as peaceful explorers while hiding your true nature. We are peaceful explorers, Captain Kim replied calmly. We're also not defenseless. There's a difference. Admiral Dak turned to his weapons officer. Bring main cannons to bear. Target their propulsion systems. We will not be humiliated by a single ship. The massive hegemony flagship began to move forward, its enormous energy cannons charging with ominous light. Behind it, the rest of the fleet started to form attack positions. On the Challenger, Commander Park looked to his captain. "They're moving to engage with their capital ships." Captain Kim nodded once. "Then we proceed as planned. Initiate gravitational drive." The human ship's engines flared with intense blue-white light. Energy readings across the vessel spiked dramatically. "Sir!" Officer Lee called out in alarm. "The human vessel is generating some kind of gravitational distortion field." Admiral Dak watched in growing horror as the supposedly primitive human ship began to move in ways that defied conventional physics. The Challenger accelerated at an impossible rate, blue energy trailing behind it as it literally bent space around itself. "Fire! Fire all weapons," the Admiral commanded. The flagship's massive cannons discharged, sending beams of destructive energy toward the human vessel. But the Challenger was no longer where it had been. It moved with impossible speed and precision, weaving between energy beams as if they were moving in slow motion. "They're predicting our targeting algorithms," the weapons officer reported in disbelief. The Challenger suddenly appeared directly above the flagship, so close that those on the hegemony bridge could see every detail of its hull through the viewports. "How did they?" Admiral Dak began. His words were cut short as the human ship released a precisely calibrated electromagnetic pulse. Systems across the flagship flickered and died, leaving only life support and emergency lighting. Similar pulses struck 20 other hegemony vessels, disabling them without destroying them. Captain Kim's voice came through on the emergency communication channel. "Admiral Dak, this is not a war you can win. We disabled your ships rather than destroying them. Consider that before you decide your next move." For the first time in his long military career, Admiral Dak felt genuine fear. What else were these humans capable of? The Challenger moved like nothing the hegemony had ever seen. It darted between their massive warships with impossible speed, appearing to bend space itself as it navigated the battlefield. Where hegemony vessels relied on brute force and overwhelming numbers, the human ship demonstrated precision and efficiency. "How are they moving like that?" Admiral Dak demanded, gripping his command chair as his disabled flagship drifted powerless through space. Officer Lee studied emergency backup systems. "They appear to be manipulating gravitational fields directly." "Sir, this technology is centuries beyond what our intelligence suggested humans possessed." Across the battlefield, 21 hegemony vessels floated dead in space, their systems crippled by precisely calibrated electromagnetic pulses. Not a single crew member had been harmed, but the mighty warships were completely helpless. Commander Park stood beside Captain Kim on the Challenger's bridge. Phase 2 complete. All targeted hegemony vessels successfully disabled. "Launch boarding teams," Captain Kim ordered. "Commander Han will lead the operation." In the Challenger's deployment bay, Commander Han checked his exosuit one final time. The advanced combat armor boosted his strength, speed, and reflexes while providing complete environmental protection. 6 other team members prepared similarly. "Remember," Commander Han told his team, "this is not an attack mission. We're after information and demonstration of capability." Their small craft detached from the Challenger and headed toward 3 key hegemony vessels, the flagship and 2 support ships that intelligence had identified as carrying high-level officers. Inside the hegemony flagship, emergency lighting cast an eerie glow across the command deck. Admiral Dak tried desperately to restore communications with his fleet. "Get those systems back online," he shouted at his engineers. "Impossible, sir," one replied. "The human weapon targeted our power distribution nodes with surgical precision. It will take hours to reset." An alarm sounded throughout the ship. "Multiple breaches detected in Docking Bay 7, a security officer reported. We have intruders." Commander Han's team moved through the alien vessel with practiced efficiency. Their advanced sensors mapped the ship's layout in real time, identifying key systems and crew locations. When hegemony security forces attempted to stop them, the humans used non-lethal stun weapons that rendered the aliens unconscious in seconds. "Central data core located," one team member reported. "Beginning extraction." While the boarding team worked, Captain Kim maintained position near the Hegemony flagship. The remaining alien vessels kept their distance, uncertain how to counter this unexpected threat. On the intelligence deck of the flagship, Officer Lee made a discovery that chilled him to his core. He had managed to access emergency files that weren't affected by the power outage. "Sir," he said, turning to Admiral Dak, "these humans, they've been watching us for decades." "What?" The Admiral stared in disbelief. "These files show intelligence reports of human observation drones detected in our territory as far back as 25 cycles ago. Our leadership dismissed them as sensor ghosts." Admiral Dak's mandibles trembled. "That's impossible. They only achieved spaceflight recently." "According to our records," Officer Lee corrected. "But these reports, they suggest humans have been deliberately hiding their true capabilities. They know our tactical doctrine, our communication protocols, everything." In the primary data center, Commander Han downloaded critical information while his team secured the area. Unlike the aliens' expectations, the humans moved with perfect coordination, using technologies that appeared designed specifically to counter hegemony defenses. "Download complete," Commander Han reported to the Challenger. "We have confirmation of Council directives regarding humanity." Back on the bridge, Captain Kim nodded. "Return to the ship. We have what we need." The boarding teams withdrew as quickly as they had arrived, leaving confused but unharmed hegemony crews behind. Within 20 minutes, all human personnel had returned to the Challenger. The human vessel then did something even more shocking. It began transmitting directly to every ship in the hegemony fleet simultaneously, bypassing encryption protocols as if they didn't exist. Captain Kim's voice echoed through every vessel. "This message is being broadcast to all hegemony ships. We have accessed your central records and confirmed what we suspected. Your leadership has been lying to you about us." The transmission continued, showing data the boarding team had retrieved. "Humanity has established 17 colonies across what you call unclaimed space. We chose isolation until we understood the political landscape of the galaxy. Your unprovoked aggression forced our hand." On ships across the fleet, confused crews watched the